The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests. If you're a sensitive snowflake that may get easily offended, then turn this off immediately. If you want to hear the real truth about the gun culture, then stick around. This is the Armed Citizen Podcast. What is going on, my Ghost Squad? Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast. This is episode 123. We are streaming live, as always, on YouTube, and this is going to be a weird one for me. For the first time in 2.5 years, roughly, I'm not able to say that we're simulcasting over on gunchannels.com. As you guys know, that gunchannels.com shut down over the weekend, so it's a little somber moment, but it's weird for me because that's part of my shtick is talk about gun channels, and we're always simulcasting over there. But we had a great run, a little over 6 year run gun channels. So, but we're not doing that anymore. So we are live as always on YouTube. Obviously, this will be in replay, and this will be rip the audio, and this will be on podcast on all of the podcast hosting sites: iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, Android. I mean, the list, there's like 27 of them that we're on. So wherever you're listening to, fantastic. If you guys are live, we've got a special guest tonight. If you have questions, make sure you tag myself, Clover, or Ron, and we'll make sure you get those questions asked to Ron. You can always text them as well, as you can see down below at 530-364-4678. And you guys can send those texts and we'll get those answered as well. Other than that, let's bring in our first he's basically our quasi co-host at this point, but from the great state of Texas, the tactical virus, Leprechaun himself. What's up, Clover?
What's happening, bro? All good.
Just chilling, man. Just chilling. And our special guest tonight, the founder and owner of Ryker USA. We got Ron Holmes. What's going on, Ron?
Hey, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, you guys probably have seen the video I put out, I think it was last week. My time has been screwed up ever since we got back from Vegas. I think it was last week, but I put out a video of the Ryker grip. And it's a really cool grip that we're going to talk about tonight. But, I met Ron a couple weeks ago on Monday at the SIG shoot. I guess I'm the SIG shoot. And we were talking about that. And come to find out, we shared some same dirt, in Eastern Africa. I think you were there a year or two before I was, but and then you were with, I want to call you our sister. You probably call us your sister unit, but I was with First Shrig out at Pendleton, and he was with Second Shrig out at Lejeune. So it's one of those things where it's kind of interesting. And I don't know about you, I haven't met a whole lot of Shrig guys. So, just happened to be talking, meeting another Shrig guy was kind of like, oh, shit, this is crazy, but it was one of those things where, it was good to meet you and all that. And we started talking, we hung out a little bit over at the Blackwater booth, and then shot a video down at the Sawmill. The Sawmill, yeah. And it was Jason's doing some training there right now, as a matter of fact. I was hoping I'd get to it, but I can't. But I want to bring you in real quick, Ron, and say, kind of tell people about yourself, your background, and then we can kind of go into the products as well.
Yeah, let's do it.
So if you want to tell everybody, kind of give some people about your background. Obviously, you're a Marine, but kind of give an idea as your background and where that took you to Ryker USA.
So went in the Marines 1989. And went to the first deployment. I was with Stinger Missile Company, Lab Battalion, went to the Gulf War, came back and got stationed back at Lejeune, and that's when I ended up at Second Shrig, and I was in the State Platoon, went to Somalia then. Came back from that, went to St. Anglico, was there for not even 2 years, and then went back to Okinawa and at Force Reconnaissance on Camp Hansen, God's country. And that was the start of my time in the reconnaissance community. Spent almost my whole career in the force command. I was at Second Force Recon at checked back in November '05. And a few months later in '06, we became MARSOC, 2nd Marine Special Operations Battalion. I then, the Marine Corps would take the fun out of everything, and I got promoted to Master Sergeant. At the time, MARSOC was so new, they didn't have the T&E for Master Sergeant Communicator in an operational company, so I got promoted into the G6 and turned in all my guns and got issued a cubicle. And first question I ask is, how soon before I can retire? I did not. I didn't want to go out like that. So I did my last 3 years up in the G6. But the cool thing I got to do is I was the lead in development for the 1st Marine Special Operations Communications School, which is now called then and is still called MNOC, Marine Network Operator Course. So for military guys out there, basically what we did was we took data and radio and we made a hybrid communicator in 10 weeks. Mirrored a lot off of the Joint Communications Unit for JSOC. They have like a 3-month one called SOROC. But they also do a lot of driving and shooting in that. That wasn't our mission. Our mission was to make amazing communicators. So I did that. I retired and hung out for a little bit and went to work. Actually ended up going to work for JSOC. I was a program manager. And the cool thing was I was over there. I was in charge of all the civilians that we had in 4 countries supporting that command. I got to be an active participant in the Bin Laden raid. So being a freshly retired guy and being able to be part of something that monumental in American history was it was pretty cool. And I like to say, like, it kind of helped my transition because I still, was going through that, like, yeah, where's my worth? What am I doing? And then I got to be part of that. And that was like, oh, this is awesome. So that, and then after that, what's up?
I was saying, it's strange to hear, an operator saying that you transition into civilian life, but most of the operators don't get a chance to transition and still be part of it. So, like you said, I think that's probably a cool thing that you were still involved with the operations side, just on a civilian level, which a lot of people go from operator to crap, what's next? And usually it's contract work or whatever, because they can't really get that out of their blood. So I think that's interesting that you transition and you stay within the intelligence community as a civilian. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I did that, and then it's funny what you just said. So I did that until they changed the contract and messed up the rotation. And so at that time, I got picked up. I was a diplomatic. I went the diplomatic advisor route for some people. I did that actually right up until I had cancer. So it was about 5 years post-retirement, and I had cancer. So in the meantime, so prior to retiring, I had bilateral shoulder and elbow surgery. So I got rubber bands that hold my shoulders in. I've had 3 surgeries on each elbow. Pre-retirement, and I've actually torn a bicep tendon post-retirement, and so I've had 4 surgeries actually on one. I also have multiple compressions in my neck and my spine. So all these things combined. So when I transitioned from the program manager job in the communications role into the diplomatic advisor role, I was running, gunning, and doing a lot of shooting, and I'm noticing that my support arm was painfully going numb on me. And what I would do is I would come back to an inferior grip back onto the magwell for pain management. And, at that high level, and how I got that job, because, you get that job, how well you can shoot a pistol at the 25-yard line, how well you can make critical decisions that are solid, and having to deal with like injuries like that and finding a way. And that's how we are. We find a way to get it done. And I just didn't feel comfortable just coming back here. And so I just started, and I'll bust them out in a little bit, but I've got all the prototypes. So I started cutting things and melting and burning and screwing and all that. And then I honestly initially made the Ryker grip, was one-dimensional thinking initially. I just wanted it so I could shoot my AR pain-free. Like I just wanted to be able to do my job, no pain, and be able to be be an asset and not be a hindrance to my team. Then I was looking to be done with contracting. I never saw contracting as a career. I didn't want to get it to that point where I was stuck and I felt like, oh, I have to do this. And I was like, right about that 5-year mark, I think I want to be done. I also think that, having spent my last 3 years in a non-deployable billet, I had a lot of gas in the tank, and I needed to get out there and stretch my legs a little bit. And that provided, that the contracting role or route provided me that release. And, and then post-retirement, I met my wife, and I'm, got married, obviously, his wife. And then it really just got to the point where it was the fun of it really wasn't there anymore. And it was just like, I really just, didn't want to leave my wife. And I was like, and that's when, one of the things I told everybody, like, hey, how do you know when it's time to retire? How do you know when it's time to get out? And it's a simple answer. And I've been to 4 of my friends' retirement that retired after me, and they all said this, and they quoted me, and it's when it's not fun anymore. Yeah. When it's not fun, it's time to go. Now, when I say when it's not fun, like, that doesn't mean every day is like, yes, no. Like, you get kicked in the dick, and you have. Can I say that? Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You're gonna have some bad days, but it's like, you have to remember, you signed up for it. You've made you do it, but it's just, you have to, as long as you're getting something out of it. And to me, it was fun, and being in the G6 kind of started to not be fun. The fun thing that honestly made it bearable was I got to create that course. So that thing kind of started happening right there at that 5-year mark. But then I ended up having cancer, and then my doctor was like, "Hey man, you can do what you want." He goes, "But your environment definitely isn't helping you not get cancer again." He's like, "I recommend you don't leave the country for 2 years." So my wife and I were like, "Hey man, I'm good." So that's that. And then right around that time, my partners and I had started the patent application process, patent writing, patent application, very long ordeal. And then, and then here we are. Let's see. I think total from the day that we initially started our LLC to right now, we're about 5.5 years, and we've been on the market about 2.5 years. So we had to sit on this for a while we were getting to, to the point where we could start telling people. So
yeah, we've got a couple comments out there. We got Tim Wilkerson says Semper Fi from an old 0844. Semper Fidelis brother. We got another brother out there. This is a good friend of ours, Patriot in the Dark, former Marine, lost his eyesight, and he said that's out. It's all about your cancer. He says I thought I had it rough, but Patriot's one of those guys that lost his eyesight, but still charges on. Man, he's a great dude. But Jacob out there wants to know real quick before we move on: is the cancer gone now?
Yeah. So. It's actually a funny story. And when I tell the story, I'm not. I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody that has cancer, has had to deal with a really hard road on someone who's had cancer. But the joke we had is like, I had cancer for 15 minutes. I had testicular cancer at 42, and this is also going to serve as a public service announcement for all you men out there. So this out of anything I say tonight, this is the most important thing I want you to walk away with. I was in the shower, hit my ball bag, and almost shit, threw up, passed out at the same time. It was one of the worst pains I've ever felt in my life. I didn't even have to go back and inspect, even though I did. I knew what the moment I hit it, I knew what it was. That was a Saturday. I was supposed to be going back out on my last trip coming Friday.
Oh,
that was Saturday. Monday I had an ultrasound. Tuesday, I got the results. Sat down with the urologist. Thursday had surgery.
Holy cow!
Yeah,
that quick. Yeah,
that quick. So they don't mess around with it. So for a few reasons. One, testicular cancer generally doesn't affect men after 36 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
So that puts me at high risk. I'll be at high risk for additional cancers for the rest of my life because I got that so late. Now, I was working in the Hook, which is Kurdistan, which is where Saddam did a lot of gassing in 80s, 90s on the Kurds.
That probably had to play something into it, didn't it?
Yeah, so my doctor was like, look, man, I can't say that your environment caused this. He goes, but I can't say that it didn't. So so we found it, got rid of it. The cool thing was, is, my wife and I at that point were trying to have a kid for about a year, and turns out my body was growing cancer in that time frame, so that's why we couldn't have a kid.
Wow.
And there's so many funny stories with it. But again, I've had many call signs. I retired. I was, when my last call signs I had on active duty, it was Ronnie No Good, because I was just always up to no good. And I used to sign things RNG, Ronnie No Good.
Did you really? Nice.
Yeah. I didn't sign it Ron Holmes. I signed it RNG. Everybody knew who that was. But so then, you don't pick your call sign, you earn it, right? And, right at the time, this is when Instructor Zero had gotten really big and was blowing up YouTube.
I was going to ask you about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm short and beard. I wear mirrored Oakleys, on the range. And then one day we're out there shooting, and like, it was just like an instructor day. Dudes weren't listening. I just was like getting pissed. And one of the guys turns around and is like, hey, man, calm down, Instructor One. And I was like,
oh shit!
You know what? He's like too soon. I'm like, hell no, I love it. And that's how I made it my personal Instagram. So Instructor ONE. And I'll tell you, man, fast forward, it took almost 2 years for my body to get right, and I beat the recon curse, made a man cub on one nut. So pretty proud of that. Yep.
There you go.
Yeah. So with that, guys. Dude, cancer, if you even think, dude, it's better to be wrong and get checked out than to catch it too late. I've actually had a couple friends who had similar cancer, and they waited and waited because they were in denial, and it ended up spreading. See, the thing is testicular cancer will spread up right up into your lymph nodes, right into your lungs if you don't catch it straight away. So if you think you got it, get checked. I'm telling you, it'll save your life.
Yeah, a couple things. Interesting enough, I was at Hanson, and I got there in November of '94. Was there in '94, '95 at Hanson, and got some nice taco rice outside the gate.
Kenville, man.
Kenville will kill you, man.
Singing a great bait. Go down there. What was it? The Rock and Roll and Shangri-La, and get you that bowl. The great
Shangri-La. They made the strongest rum and coke in the history of the world. Good God, it was like gasoline. Memories. Holy shit. Yeah. So my wife's from Okinawa. I met her when I was over there. So it's
nice.
We still go back there every now and then. My daughter goes back a lot more than we do, but yeah, every time we get to Okinawa, we'll drive past Kenville. I'm like, oh, just kind of, oh God. Schwab was probably worse, but I didn't spend a whole lot of time at Schwab. So, anyways, real quick before we start jumping into products and all that, Clover, do you have anything you want to bring up or ask real quick?
I'm good. I'm glad to hear, Ron's doing well, beat the cancer and all of that. And chat looks pretty quiet right now too.
Yeah. So let's start kind of getting into the grip, and we have other things to talk about with training and all that, but the product of the grip, and we've got a lot of people, especially on the video, are talking about different ways. How does it work with this? And I love the fact that it's not just for an AR platform; it's for AK, for shotgun, really anything that has, what you say, a 3-inch rail on the side.
3-inch piece of pick. Yep.
So kind of talk about, we were talking about the shoulder and all that and the ergonomics of the grip and all that. Kind of talk about, you said it took a while to get the patent done, but kind of talk about the applications that you initially designed for.
So like I said, when I made this, the first, prototypes, it was to relieve pain, allow me to shoot pain free. Because one of the other things that I did too, I got into it right before I retired and did it. I was pretty heavy into it for a few years. I was a big competitive shooter. I was doing probably 3 matches, a month, just all through North Carolina. And I kind of got burnt out on it. But I was, with the 3 guns and stuff like that, I was experiencing a lot of, that shoulder fatigue still, but didn't really pay attention to it until I started shooting 6 hours a day for a job interview and for a job. So we went through the whole patent process, and one of the things that we want to do, because we know that the internet is not a kind place, and even though the special operations sections in our armed forces make up 1% of the entire armed forces, everybody on the internet has been in special forces and special operations.
Yeah.
So we knew we were going to get pushback. When we launched, we didn't realize that like we were going to get so much prison rape and hate, but we fought through it. But one of the things we want to do different. I didn't just want to come at you and be like, hey, look, I just made this product. I'm a retired Marine, and I said this is cool and you should buy it. And we wanted to take a different approach. And if you think about all of the things that you've purchased and all of the things that you've been issued and put on your guns, how many of them actually have data? How many of them actually have like a doctor's touch on it that helped them take it to the next level? So what we did is, once we got this and we got our first 3D printed versions of the Ryker grip, we were shooting a lot, and what we were starting to notice is that we felt faster. And when I say faster, I'm talking about transitions from target to target. And then you do the eye test. We could notice that our shot groups, the impact, was just getting a little bit tighter, and we just felt faster. So we were like, how do we measure this? Mm-hmm. So we created a 96 round course of fire, random course of fire. Flip a coin before you start. Heads is grip, tails is no grip. Sorry, and I've got two, and I know I can't touch them, but there's two rifles right over here on my shoulder. Those two are identical, other than one has a FDE pistol grip and the other one has a gray one, but they're identical. Actually, it's down further. But anyway, they got same optic. Only difference is one has a grip, one doesn't have a grip. So when we shoot this, those are the two guns we run through that course. So it's a fair assessment. And what we did is we took that 96 round course of fire and sent it to this team of PhD statisticians. These guys were so blown away, they've asked us to come speak at their annual thing about why we did this and everything. And they validated it. They're the ones that actually told us do the randomization, flip the coin is the most fair way to do it. So there was that. And then through the engineer firm that we hired in Raleigh, North Carolina, Lout Design, they're amazing. They're young, they're innovative. We went with them for a few reasons, because they were young, because they were innovative, and there was no anti-gun rhetoric or mentality in there. They actually had previous clients. They had done everything for Kyle Lamb's Viking Tactics line. So that was it's in our home state, North Carolina. So then through them, we started looking at the biomechanics and started looking at, the industry that has probably spent the most research and development in ergonomics for hands is the video game industry. Yeah. And if you think about the Wii and the Xbox and Nintendo 64 and everything has your hands in this natural thumbs forward, position. So we started looking at that, and then we got an ergonomic specialist and an ophthalmologist we brought on board, and then we eventually brought on 2 SOCOM MDs. So we have a team of doctors that helped us along this process, and that can also explain. So a lot of the stuff I say, I'm talking about, I'm regurgitating stuff I've learned from them, but it's also from, there's maybe 3 or 4 other people who've shot this at least as much as I have from the beginning to where we are now. So all of those things, we wanted to do something different. We wanted to make an impact, and we also felt that our product is the Ferrari of grips. And the whole thing is the whole patent writing process. And I'll tell you guys, if there's anything that you ever have an idea on and you want to invent it, you want to take it to market, you need to sit down with a patent writer. And what a patent writer does is they go through the books. Now that process is anywhere from 6 months to a year, just depending on what you're looking at. I think ours took about almost just 8.5 months. And what they're doing is they're just trying to find verbiage and everything and all that. And it's funny, is the guy asked me, he was like, hey man, he goes, so I have to ask you. He's like, how do you know this doesn't exist? And I was like, bro, you don't know me. I said, if it existed, I'd have 30 of them. And he's like, all right. So it came back, and it was like, he was like, there's nothing out there on the side of the gun. So our patent, the verbiage is very clear. Our patent, we pretty much own the side of any rifle for the purposes of mounting for a hand support. So that process is interesting too. It's a game. The Office of Patent is it's a game, and the game is they're always going to get paid. Yeah, so we went forward, and once we followed the version of what we wanted to go with, we're probably right now we're right about 5 years from prototype through production. We've got the grips in 6 countries in combat. You know, and I'll say there's a stack of bodies on the grip, CONUS and OCONUS. So we got a lot of SRT guys that run it also. But the one thing that we did change the most on the grip was the mount. And one of the things we found is everybody has to do their own little nuance, and not every Picatinny rail is the same thickness. And we found this out when we gave it to the guys down the road at Marshall. They were trying to put it on their, they had those old school, like the SOP mod quad rail, and the big one that like just cuts your skin and rips everything. They couldn't get the grip on there. It wasn't wide enough. So we tried a 2-piece system, and then we got the measurement. So there's a lot of, this is designed to fit. The only rail that this one won't go on, because you have to take a part off, is that I think it's the Surefire rail. And what they've done at the front, so you have your Picatinny, but they have a wider part at the for that feed ramp on there, so you can't slide it on.
Just at the end, you can't get it over that shit.
Right, and you can do it. I think you can do it at the back, but it's a pain. I've actually had to rubber mallet a couple on guns, and they weren't coming off after that. But so we made it to that. So there's a lot of flex in this. It is made out of the nylon infused polymer, the same thing that your pistol grips, your buttstocks, and everything else are made out of. Super amount of flex in this though. So yeah, that, and then just rolled right into we're shooting one day, and we're like, let's put this on a shotgun. Yeah. And we're out at this range, and I'm shooting skeet with a Mossberg 500 in the Ryker grip. I don't shoot skeet. I've shot skeet maybe 5 times in my life, and we're sitting there, and it's just boom, boom, and we're all doing it, and we're like, holy crap. Shooting skeet, hitting 2s and 3s, you know, with on a pump shotgun. So we're like, all right, let's put it on 308. And then that's when I started hitting my boys up on active duty, like, hey man, you need to put this on a SCAR, or you need to put this on the saw. And and I showed you, I think I showed you that video, right? And
yeah, it just, to me, you know, putting it on a saw, it just, that thing is it's got so much energy and power. I didn't think it would hold up to the beating, but I mean, that you showed me that video, and it's not a big deal at all. I was really surprised.
Yeah, so a lot of things. So as we're doing this again, I remember I said one-dimensional for me, pain-free. Then I wasn't thinking about other guns. So now we're putting out other guns, and now we're like we're going to other ranges and putting it on full auto, and we're realizing there's a lot of benefit here. And so this is when we started to realize that your recoil is reduced, if not eliminated. And the fatigue is the whole reason why I made this. The fatigue is eliminated. So instead of, we don't teacup a pistol anymore, right? We shoot pistols in an athletic stance, in an aggressive stance, right? So why would we still teach people how to teacup a rifle, crouching in, dropping your head down, right? You know, the broom handles here, right? The wedge, or even that thumb over. So we give you all the benefits of why you do this thumb over, or C grip, or whatever you want to call it, but we remove all the negatives from that. So just by putting your hand from underneath, so if you're holding underneath the gun, or even that, or the wedge, you're holding the weight of that entire gun up, and you're stressing an individual muscle group. This is where the fatigue comes in. This is where the shakes are going to come in, the numbness and everything if you have existing injuries. But the other thing too is, think about if you're wearing body armor and I'm still reaching across my body, and what you're doing is you're cutting off that blood flow. That is also going to speed up fatigue. Why is that important? That's important because if you are getting fatigued and you're having to stay up on target, it's going to affect your impact. It's going to affect your fundamentals of marksmanship. So just by moving it from here, or sorry guys, camera, from here or here out to the side, you now open up the shoulder pocket. I'm pulling back, so I'm no longer using an individual muscle group. I'm using my chest, my shoulders, my back. I'm using my whole body together to pull it back. And because I'm pulling it back, that's eliminating recoil and fatigue. Now, another benefit is with the grip. The standoff on it, no glove, no heat. Completely removes you from the heat. So thinking about that in aspect for law enforcement, right, and plainclothes guys and federal agents, plainclothes, who get, leave their house normal day, and then, right after lunch, they're in a sustained gunfight. They're in a bank robbery, big shootout, and these guys are doing mag changes. Even with a glove, traditional methods of shooting, even with a glove, when you're switching to that fourth mag, that gun is hot, and it's hot enough where you're going to be feeling that heat through that glove. And you're now going to be thinking about pain management, how to mitigate the heat, and you're not going to be focusing on target acquisition and fundamentals. So the grip completely removes you from the heat. So there's a lot of benefits on that. So we found
before you move on real quick, we got a couple of statements out there from the crowd. Clover, you said you've got a couple things around the crowd and in the audience.
Yeah, AWAG out there, he says that he's used the Ryker grip on one of his ARs, and he personally liked it. He said the only gripe he had with it is it gets snagged on its 2-point slings when transitioning from rifle to pistol. Other than that, it's a great product.
All right, so to on that one, we are on our YouTube channel, Ryker USA. I've got a couple videos out there on sling recommendation. How I run the sling is I put the sling behind the pistol grip and behind the grip. I actually put it back as far as I can to the mag well. I do this for a couple of reasons. One, when I'm tightening it down, it just holds the rifle closer to me. If I had to bend over and provide medical attention, if I had to carry somebody, the rifle's not bouncing around. It's not going to hit them, and it's in nice and tight to my body. I can pop my release and bring it out. So one of the things that might help you with your 2-point sling. I was a 2-point sling guy, and then when I was doing the diplomatic stuff, I got into single point because we would leave our 416s in the car, and we would have our single points on underneath, so we could just take it and pop it on. I can't stand single points. They just beat your ball bag up and they beat your knees up. So I went back to 2-point, and so again, try that narrow for you. So try that narrow, bring it right behind the pistol grip, and I can't really show you because I can't touch guns. Trey told me.
It's crazy. I'm sorry.
And, you might be able to see. This is my wife's gun. You might be able to see. Is this okay? What I'm doing, Trey?
Oh yeah, right? Absolutely.
So you can see it here, right behind the pistol grip and behind the grip, right there. Okay, that might help you a lot. Now, the other thing when you're transitioning too, if you are left hand, rifle, left hand pistol, right hand rifle, right hand pistol, this is going to work for you. If you're crossfire dominant and your left hand rifle, right hand pistol, you're gonna have to figure it out on your own. Sorry. But no, so what we do is, so I'm left-handed, boom, 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 stoppage of fire. I run out, malfunction, whatever. I'm up, my strong hand is automatically going to the pistol, and while my hand is on the pistol grip, I'm rotating the rifle, the mag well away behind me, and then when I come on up, it stays behind you, boom, boom, boom. You get your pistol back up, holster. You reach right behind you, and your hand goes right to the grip. You come back up, clear your malfunction, get your gun back up, and you're right back on target. Try that. Just rehearse that, try that, practice it. But check out, I got a couple videos on our YouTube channel that will help you out with that. So I thank you for the support. Thank you for running it, and thank you for the feedback. I love, you can't hurt my feelings. I've heard it, yeah, so that hopefully that helps. And if not, hey man, we'll throw the information up how you can get a hold of me, at the end of this. But yeah, hit me up, and I'll gladly do another video, go out to the range and do something for you guys. But hopefully that helps.
That might be a cool thing, because I never even thought about that, because when you do transition and you get the rifle squared away on your back, I never thought about, looking for that hand guard and bringing it back up. Now you're just going for that grip. And I didn't even think about the transition. That could be huge, especially if you're doing, even in competition, 3-gun. It was something like that. I mean, there's all sorts of applications. So I never thought about that. And I think Clover didn't someone else have a comment or question about something?
I can see it right here. Jacob asked, he's like, just looking at it, wouldn't if you were to jerk your support arm, the whole gun jerks more than holding with a hand off the pick?
I don't think he understood that when you're using that grip, it's actually you're bringing it back into the shoulders. I don't think he really kind of realized that. Maybe I don't know.
Right. So yeah, you are pulling back. So people are like, you're not pulling off center. You're actually pulling back. And what you're doing is your hand is on bore axis, and where your thumb goes, is where your bullets go. Right. So the other thing too is you want to look at is commonality of movement. So like I said, we shoot pistols like this, right? And then we change our whole body position to shoot a rifle like this. Now I shoot my pistol like this, take that rifle away, and I stay in the same exact position. So I'm doing one less thing, which by itself is going to make you faster. We say too is it doesn't matter. A brand new shooter, experienced shooter, 30 rounds, some up down, some side to sides. Go to that second mag of 30 rounds. Double taps, boom, 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 3 targets, everything. Getting that just upper body. Moves more like a tank turret now. Mags, you got it. It's not coming off your gun. For shotguns, we say about 16 shells. 16 shells on a pump is what it's gonna take for you to get your rhythm down. I've got a real good video, side-by-side video of me shooting a Mossberg. Mossberg 500 again, same rifle. Only difference is one has the grip, one doesn't, and you can see the difference. I had my hand, and again. It was 105 degrees that day when I had
sweating. You were slipping off of the pump.
My hand was coming right off, and that was a textured one. And my speed and everything was still there, but there was never consistency. My hand on the traditional pump was never in the same place each time. Right. So you think about that on a shotgun. So you're applying grip strength to a pump, you're pulling down to manage recoil, and then you're pulling back. When you have the Ryker grip on a shotgun, I shoot because I already have that rearward pressure. It's already coming back to eject the shell, and you go forward because you're pulling back. You're pulling that front end down, so that muzzle rise, that recoil, that arc is cut in half. Corinne, this isn't an endorsement from her, but we were talking, and she has a grip, and she just hasn't had time to get to it yet. And then when at SHOT Show, we were talking, and I showed her the shotgun video, and she's like, you know what sold me on that? Why I'm going to go home and do this now is because of looking at the muzzle rise, and the muzzle rise is cut in half. You can see it. So, but yeah.
Clover, do you have anything you want to ask real quick?
Yeah, actually I do. I want to first say that I'm kind of jonesing now, and I'm kind of thinking that Ryker grip on a Century 12 would be pretty freaking amazing.
Yeah, that new Blackwater Century.
Yeah.
Oh, the thumb trigger?
No,
they're shotgun.
A Century shotgun. He shot it, and he said it kicks like a son of a bitch. With that Ryker, that might help a little bit.
So
what you're saying?
So what I'm saying is in probably between 25 days, I'll be heading 3 hours west and doing a couple days of gunfighting, with those guys, getting them all up on the Ryker grip. We actually sent them some. They were a big fan, and they're trying to include it on their package with their shotguns and their rifles. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm excited to try that thumb trigger.
It's awesome. I love it. I really do.
And because again, I can't. Well, here's the thing: being left-handed, I have dealt with left-handed oppression my entire life, and I joke about it, but it's a real thing. My son is left-handed, and I'm thankful for that because I already have all his gear, and he's set. And left-handed scissors didn't exist when I was a kid. He has left-handed scissors, but in the 90s, we had, even in Force Recon, we had no money. And the tactical industry it was nothing. It was catalogs. It was like a catalog from the UK, and you would order something and you'd get it in 3 months, maybe. Yeah, maybe. And, all these things. So the only thing that I had that was truly dedicated left-handed was my Surefire holster for my 1911. And everything else I've had, I've learned how to cut, sew, and everything. And then, old school Marine Corps uniform, everything's the same. And I used to have all my crap set up for a right-handed shooter. And it just didn't make sense for me, and that's when I finally earned my way into the reconnaissance community, and I could think for myself, and I could do what I wanted with my equipment to make it work for me. So I also credit inventing the grip to being left-handed, having to always overcome and modify. I still have to modify gear to make it work for me, even holsters and stuff like that. But that's kind of where this comes from. And so going into that being left-handed, the grip is ambidextrous. It comes out of the box. I lost the battle for it to come out for a left-handed shooter, but it comes out of the box set up for a right-handed shooter. You just pull the horizontal set screw out, take it out. It is marine proof. Okay,
it's marine proof. I love that.
It's a cap and nut system. It goes on one way. My partners are Navy and they're Navy officers, so there's that you guys can get it. So you put it on, and now it's on the correct side of the gun for a left-handed shooter. It's actually 3 pieces, but it's 2 pieces. This is the mold. It's 2 pieces, and it's got 2 tiny screws that hold it together.
You said you had a question?
Oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah, I'm curious about the the development. That's always interesting. I mean, when you hear something like this, it's okay, it's just another grip. But what's interesting is when you get into the stories of development and all that. So through the process, you said it was 5 years from basically idea to getting it out there. How many different variations and prototypes and things did you go through during that 5 years before you found something that said, okay, we've got it now?
So bear with me, I'm getting a box.
No problem.
So I guess the best way to answer that is to take a trip down memory lane. So this was the very first Ryker grip. And what I did is I took 2 broom handles and I drilled it out, glued it together, and put it on. So this was onto the side, so it was still straight up and down, right? And this wasn't comfortable, but especially because of the center post, right? That just wasn't comfortable. So I wanted comfort, right? And so this let me know I was onto something. I was still getting a lot of torque in my elbow, and it just didn't feel comfortable. So then I started, on this quest and found this stuff. This is a shameless plug because I'm here because of this company. I saw this on Facebook. I am Instamorph. It's a mobile plastic, and it showed this dude, his drone broke. He broke his blade, and it showed this guy just take this. Let's see if I can hold that up there. It's just little beads, and you just boil it in the water and pull it out and mold it. So then I started molding things. So you guys remember from the 80s, like the old school BMX, the Oakley, the big mushroom grips and everything like that. Oh, yeah. That was kind of a little envision I had. This was the first one. This is the second prototype. So hand right here, just making it like that bicycle grip, right? It's kind of what I was thinking. It goes on the side. This is really big, right? Just like, but again, this is the process. So then this became, that became this.
Okay.
Just shaving it down.
It's starting to kind of get down to where it is now, yeah.
This is what we went to the engineers with. The engineers, when they worked on it, and we sat down for the brief as to like the design. They had 5 designs, and they saved this one for last. And we were like, each one they showed us, we were like, oh, hell yeah, that's awesome. And they're like, no, hold on. They showed us next one, like, oh, this is it. Like, hold on. And I'm just like, God damn it, just get to the point already, But we ended up going with it. So this is like one of the 3D printed ones. This is one of the 3D printed ones and the different mounts. So the only thing that really changed on this was the mounting system. And let me see. So again, this was the one mounting system that we originally were going with, and it was a 2-piece system to allow you to adjust for the width. But what we realized is just that with the mold and everything and trying to do male prong to female on this for it to connect that way. Dudes are going to break it. It was going to be an issue, and we're just like, we need to make it as simple as possible, and then that's why we went with the current Picatinny mode we have now. And then I'll show you, as I can't show you because it's still on one of my shotguns. This was, this kind of looks funny, but this was going to be what we screwed onto the bottom of a shotgun, and this was going to be our original pump.
Okay.
All right, so I actually have one on a shotgun, and it is actually screwed. I have 4 screws into the pump through the plastic.
Wow.
It's not going anywhere. It's on there.
Yeah, it's on there. So it's still there. So, but that's kind of like where we're at. Where we're going is we've got a lot of, again, this is version 1. So our ultimate goal is to make this the joystick of the weapon. So remember I mentioned, the studies that all the gaming systems have done with their controllers. And we're looking at, all people and other things they're talking about, like, well, how do I use my light and pressure pad and all that? Again, I've got a couple of videos up there, and I can't show you anything right now, but we've got some prototype stuff that I'm going to have in a few weeks. And it's definitely going to fix a lot of people's concerns about how do I mount, and use my light and laser. This is right here. I'll show you guys this. So you can see behind the curtain on here. This is our first proof of concept working prototype integrated control. Single button laser, boom, boom, boom. So you can shoot, boom, boom, boom. So what we have found is you can actually have this on the side of your rifle and have your index finger and your thumb off to the side or not even on and still have positive control and enough strength to manipulate this if you had buttons in here so you didn't accidentally hit light or laser. Mm-hmm. We actually just picked up with a company who just got a huge DoD contract, and we're working with them to do the integrated controls going forward for the Army and the Marine Corps. And then we also
have this on my list to ask you. Light or laser? You can't really see it, but that was one of the things because actually on the video, I hadn't thought about it either. But on the video, someone said, "Oh, it'd be really cool if you could integrate, the finger controls for a light or a laser on that grip, so you're not having to once again manipulate the grip to do it." I was like, "That, hell yeah!" So it's nice that you guys are already taking Gen 2 and Gen 3 to the next level,
Yeah. So we gave the grip to a bunch of SEALs, and I'm sorry, and to go back to Clover's comment. One of the other things that we did is we did a long post and short post to see like how far we wanted it to stand off. That was the other thing that we did originally, and we kind of went with what we call the short post. That was the majority of the feedback we got. So the guys were like, "Yeah, I want a long post." We gave them a long post, and they came back to like, "No, I want the short post." But the SEALs came back
to a certain extent. If you're like me, I like to keep everything in close. And you and I have talked. Even with the grip, I'm going to probably have it closer to the back than to the front, just because I like it here. But I guess there does come a point if you get too wide, I could see where that would cause some discomfort also. Because even if it's talking an extra half inch or whatever, at some point it's a different position.
Well, you got a couple issues, I think, there. First of all, that's definitely a stress point, right? Yeah. When you start elongating that. And then it's also a center of gravity issue as well.
Yes. Sorry, guys, I'm texting my wife.
No problem.
My laptop, I forgot my power cord inside. I didn't realize my battery is this bad. See if she can bring it out to me. Get your lazy ass inside. So it's we want to do more. Again, we're a service-disabled, veteran-owned small business. All it takes is time and money. And when something doesn't exist and you invent it and you go to make it and try to take it in production, it's not fast. It's not fast. We actually there's a rule in our company. They don't give me hard dates anymore because I get pissed when I have a hard date and that date comes and I don't have what I'm supposed to have and I'm stomping mad and I'm like, well, then they're doing it for free. And they're like, no, that's not how this works. Right. And I'm like, don't give me a hard date. And So anyway, but we're getting there, and it's just patience and all that. So what we do have, and I can't really show you, and it's on this gun right here, is a we got our first prototypes. We actually got some in Afghanistan right now. We got Vinny with 3% Nation. He's actually a Florida boy, or New Yorker, left the communist state of New York for America and is in Florida now. So check out Vinny with 3% Nation. The guy's amazing. He's got a great story about how firearms and fitness have actually, he's dropped over 100 pounds in a year just from competing. He's done 4 tactical games. And the guy's just one of the most upbeat people I've met. And I'm going to tell you what, this dude's probably got the fastest trigger finger I've ever seen on AR.
Really?
Yeah, he's nuts. So he has one. So what we have now is we went with Picatinny mount. Now put that up a little closer. Went with that Picatinny mount because it's the most common. It is the most common. And what we're going to do now is we have prototypes. We have a long post and short post for direct M-lock. So what that's actually going to do with the direct M-lock on a short post, it's going to put the profile of the Ryker grip a quarter inch closer to the rail. Okay. It's going to give you the same amount of space between rail and grip. The long post gives you the same profile that you have with the Picatinny grip, but you have more space between the inside of the grip and the rail. Okay, so that is. I like short post. Okay. I like short post, but dudes with big meat hooks, dudes with big meat hooks are going to. A lot of those guys we noticed like it. Even with gloves on, I still like it how it is right now. And then again, our size when we made this, guys, we based this. This is why we brought in science and doctors and engineers. But the grip and the angle and the pitch is all based off of 80% of hand size and wrist mobility in the United States.
Yeah. AWAG out there says it makes him happy that there's an integrated pressure pad, but wants to know if there's any way to get the integrated controls for a Streamlight ProTac. That's the reason why he took the Ryker grip off his home defense AR.
So,
sure, the answer is yes. You buy 1,000 of them, sure, absolutely.
Yeah. I got my headphones on, so I'm gonna talk and walk and go grab my cord real quick.
Absolutely.
Sorry about that. So the answer to that is pressure pads right now, and 45-degree angle mounts will allow you to. Can you still hear me? Oh, shit. I just texted you. I'm sorry, babe. Sorry, bro. I'm back.
Yeah, you're good, bro.
All right. Yeah. So pressure pads, 45-degree angle mounts. You put a 45-degree angle mount on the top of the rail. There's a couple low-profile ones. And I believe I did a video of this on our YouTube. And what it does is it puts, so if you put that 45-degree angle mount going right here, you can put your pressure pads on there. So now you can plug that right into your Surefire light. I use one of my.
You're not having to change the grip at all. It's just your thumb's able to get to those pads.
Right. So here's one of the ones that we have, and I'm constantly changing stuff up. And then I have the other Surefire. That's a 2-button. That's on my 308, and you can go back and forth between light and laser. Now I'll tell you this a little behind the curtain. Going forward with the AI stuff, with the Marine Corps and the Army, the Marine Corps wants to be able to have control like all the new stuff that's coming, the nods and everything they got. You know, from the support hand with like all these buttons up front, and they want it to be wired. The Army doesn't want, yes, well, and the Army doesn't. The Army wants Bluetooth. So there's RF, Bluetooth, all these other things. So there's 2 options there. So one of the things that we are looking at, we are working is to get Bluetooth integration into this. And the Bluetooth technology is already there, and we can make this waterproof and all that stuff. So those things are coming now with the Bluetooth. And for guys who have Surefire, they already have the little dongle that you just plug into the back, and it communicates. You just sync it up to your grip.
Yeah, it's done. Absolutely.
That is coming. Again, I can't give you a date because you're going to hold me to it, and then
I won't hold you to it. No, I won't hold you to
it. But
yeah,
yeah,
awesome.
but let me see. Yeah, man. But no, and then again, like this one actually is Cerakoted, like a gunmetal gray, and we got a thin blue line down there. My buddies in town here did that, and we're going to the NCTOA in March in North Carolina, and we'll have that one up there. I'll probably give that one up for the auction for the guys to bid on that one. And then I busted out the painter's tape and the rattle can, and I did like a little Rhodesian tiger stripe, and this matches. Yeah, and it matches I did the entire shotgun the same way. So,
that's sweet.
Yeah. So, but yeah, but again, if you have, talking about, I think going back to something that Clover had asked, but other things that we found out about this. So we're thinking about operations, we're thinking about movement, we're thinking about speed, accuracy, sustainability in a gunfight. We're thinking about heat mitigation, pain mitigation, fatigue, all these things. Different calibers. So we say the heavier the gun, higher the caliber, and or full auto, you recognize the benefit of the grip instantly. And so this is our main focus. And then we get a letter, we get an email. I get a letter, making it sound like somebody wrote us a letter and mailed it to us. I honestly don't even know where they would mail it to. I don't even think we have an address. But we get an email from a guy who's a retired cop, and he goes, I just want you guys to know, he's like, I'm a recipient of a lung transplant. And he's like, I'm a retired cop, and I was a competitive shooter, and I haven't been able to shoot because I've never been strong enough to bring my arm across my body and breathe. And he goes, your grip has given me the ability to shoot again. So we're like, oh man, like holy crap. So then we've got my boy Mike, cerebral palsy Mike, who he has cerebral palsy, and his left arm is shorter and his hand's kind of in a fixed position. Same thing. He's like, dude, your grip, he's like, he can shoot pistol all day. He goes, your grip has allowed me to shoot competitively. Kyle Carpenter. Everybody knows who Kyle is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, I got to tell you, man, I met Kyle 3 SHOT shows ago, and I gotta tell you, I love that kid, and he is the most humble and one of the most just amazing and just a beautiful human being. And if we could all be like Kyle, like the world would be a better place. Such a happy man. But took Kyle to the range, and if you guys aren't familiar, Kyle Carpenter, Medal of Honor recipient, jumped on a grenade. Pretty badass, died a whole bunch of times in transit and everything. Just can't kill him. And if you watch
9 lives, literally. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then if you watch the Super Bowl, he had the opening thing. It was pretty motivating. What a great guy. So we took him to the range. His right arm, from skin grafts and everything, his right arm, he doesn't have a lot of muscle in there. He can't shoot regularly. He can't hold the gun up. His wrist is fixed. He has no flexibility in it. We put the grip in a rifle in his hand, and he started shooting, and he's like, fellas, that's nice. And he's like, can I shoot some more? We're like, yeah, put a chest rig on him. And he was like, shooting, moving, burning it down, changing mags. And he turned around, looked right at us. He goes, guys, right now, how I am today, right now, he goes, I could go back to Afghanistan because of the grip.
Holy shit.
So you get this, right? And then we have this dude who's like, man, I took your grip hog hunting from a helicopter, and I got to tell you, I've been hog hunting a lot. He goes, but I never had a day like I had like this. You guys made a great product. He's like, this thing, and he goes, this thing is awesome. He goes, I dropped 6 hogs in like 5 seconds. It was crazy. Everybody's like, how'd you do that? And he goes, dude, it's this grip. And he's like, it allows me to just dial in. And then he caveats or transitions into, I think this is a good time to mention, I also don't have any legs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and you're just like, you're reading this, and it's like, and he's just like, I'm combat wounded veteran. I'm dual amputee up to the hip. He's like, so platform. He goes, it's so difficult for me to get a platform. He goes, your grip allows me to do something I haven't been able to do. So we've got a bunch more of those, and it's all these other things So it's funny is it's one of our partners. It's just like he's like, that's success, guys. He's like, if we don't ever sell another grip and we went out of business today, he's like, we're a successful business because we have had an impact on someone's life and we gave them back something that they thought they had lost. So like all these things, and that in itself is so rewarding. And that, you know, the thing is that we didn't set out for that. I didn't even think about that. You know, we just talk about injuries for guys like, you know, like me with arthritis and multiple shoulder and elbow injuries and compressions.
Shoulder and elbows, is that all you were thinking about? Yeah. Right.
And then you have all these other like amazing benefits. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
There was a question out there for you. AWAG, this is a while ago, says he's curious how this will act on a Savage 110 300 Win Mag while shooting offhand. I'm assuming that would make him a lot more stable shooting offhand, I would imagine.
So we've got a lot of the SRT guys across the United States love this on their AR-10.
It almost takes away, you know, how we learned shooting offhand. You almost wanted to, you know, get that sling involved. You you don't have to use that sling anymore.
Got a great story. We had our boy out in Las Vegas Metro, and we met him 2 SHOT Shows ago. Sent him home with a couple grips. Him and his partner went out to the law enforcement sniper competition down in Florida a couple years ago, and I think there was representatives from all 50 states, and they had two shooters for each team. He said they out of 50 they finished 20th. He goes, but they set the course record for the 150-meter standing unsupported position. They set the record with speed and accuracy. He said everybody was sitting there and doing exactly what you just said, Trey, getting in there tight with that sling, pulling it back in. He said they just stepped right on up, pulled it back, boom, and they were like, and everybody's like, what the? And they're like, is the grip, you know? And yeah, he said so. They set a course record on that one for speed and accuracy. So 300 Win Mag is a heavy gun. I will tell you that I have another video on our YouTube. I got to go up to Ohio Ordnance right before Christmas, and you know, looking to do something with them. They make saws, Mild Deuces, 240s, everything, but they also make the H car. If you guys haven't seen the H car, you need to. So it is a modern take that they made, modern version of the BAR.
It's
kidding. It's a 30-06. It's polymer. It's piston driven. He sixed it and everything. It's so much lighter than the original BAR. It has the same amount of recoil as a 5.56, and with the Ryker grip, it is insane. And they also make a 30-round mag for it.
Wow!
And it's $5,000.
Hey, who is this doing that?
Ohio Ordnance. Check them out, and the video's on our YouTube page. Yeah, it's called the H car, HCAR. It is sick. It's my favorite gun.
I've probably seen it, but yeah, I haven't actually looked into it.
That's crazy.
It's amazing. What's up?
I was asking Clover if he has anything he wants to bring up or ask right now.
I'm good right now.
Okay. Ron, we can talk off. We can talk off air, and I might even, when we get off air, I might bring in Patriot, who's the Marine who's lost his eyesight, but he kind of does a co-hosting on a show, and it's shooting with disabilities, and that might be a cool podcast to get on and talk directly to people that might find this actually like you said, this is changing things that you had no one. You know, it's not that you're upset about, but you had no intention of that originally. And it's like, holy cow, this has its own life to it. So it's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I have to take my friend. So AWAG says it may show issues with stability handling the rifle because I have to take my firing hand off the grip to run the bolt, and holding the gun off the left side of the rifle be unstable. He's seen some people using a stick stuck in their pocket and gripping the stick and using their hand to keep it supported. They've said that it's a good way to support the field hiking hunt. So there you go. Yeah. So there you go.
You know, one thing that did come to mind with me is just the ergonomics on the design of the grip.
Yeah.
What it reminds me of, coming from a precision rifle, competition background and world, is the palm swells that are used, right? In those, and the only difference is, other than it being on the bottom, it's on the side, which is,
Mm-hmm.
but ergonomically, it's really similar to something like that.
Yes. Yeah. And then you think too is how do we, we stand. Our hands are like this.
Mm-hmm.
How do we shake hands?
Yeah,
like
they're not.
This.
They're not like that. They're not,
You're not like this.
Yeah.
You're not like this. It's like this. So that's kind of where we went. And ergonomics was a big factor for us in this. Again, we wanted to make an impact. We wanted to be different. We knew there was going to be pushback, and we're in this for the long haul. So, yeah, and I'll tell you too we Alpha Addy. So I got to talk about our first sponsor shooter.
Well, you picked a good one if you're with Addy. That's awesome.
So, Addy reached out to us, and I guess Addy was like having trouble, upper body strength. She's, tiny at the time. She was 10. I think she's 12 now. She was having trouble. She got her grip. She drive for our practice, ran through for a week, went out and took 60 seconds off her time on the carbine in competition. So let's fast forward. Alpha Addy is now an F1 shooter. She's 12 years old. She has her own signature rifle, and she's paid to shoot at 12-year-old little girl. Like America, right? That's awesome.
America.
So,
right.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
her and now her little sister Tristan's getting into it. So that was good. And then our next sponsored shooter is Reagan down in Florida, Pineapple Shooter. You need to check her out. Same thing, same success story. Runs the grip, runs on her PCC, runs on her 22 and her Power 6. She loves it. Great, and both these girls, great families, great supporting cast. Doing it right. And our newest shooter is Nate Schmidt, and I believe he's in Indiana. Met his parents at SHOT Show, and I was like, yeah, if he's interested, we'll bring him on, we'll sponsor him, and he'll be our first male junior competitor. And it turns out that it was on his list of things that he wanted to find out if we could sponsor him. He was already watching us, so yeah. So we just picked him up. He's new, and I post about them all the time. I'll be posting about Nate a little bit more once he gets some more content up and he starts doing some more competitions. He's really new into it. But those are my three little next gen, warriors that they're going to be ones that carry the torch for us coming forward, and they're all from good families that are believe in fundamentals of marksmanship, that believe in firearms safety and education. And training. And the most important, well, not most important thing, but one of the most important things is training. Practice. You got to rehearse. You just can't. And I say this in all my classes that I teach. Like you don't rise to the occasion. And it's like when people say you rise to the occasion, like, no, that's crap. You're not just all of a sudden going to become, Spider-Man and be able to like jump and sling webs, right? You will rise to your level of training, your level of preparedness, and your abilities within those parameters, and that's it right there. You will rise to what you have, what the sweat and the blood and the tears that you have committed to your craft or your hobby, and that's it. There's no superpowers. It's fundamentals, day in, day out. Sports analogy, no big secret. I'm a big Pats guy, and Brady and Manning, the best. Brady, one of the things that he does every single day in the off season, he does 50 snaps, 3-step drop, read, reset, not throws the pass, does 50
right. Just the drop, yeah.
Snap, 25 under center, 25 from shotgun, 3-step drop, boom, 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 scans the field, does it again. He's dry fire practicing. That's what he's doing. He's dry fire practicing. That's why at 42 years old, he's still who he is, right? Yeah. So, and that's it right there. It's just practice. It's fundamentals, like John Wick. The first time I saw John Wick, I was like, And then I watched it again. And I'm like, this is legit. And now I'm watching it again, trying to find a flaw. And I'm just like, and then the video started coming out of Keanu training. And it's like, and you see the dedication that he's put. But here's the other thing: I don't know a lot of people understand this. Keanu's been competitive shooting since before the Matrix. He got into shooting for the Matrix, and he was competitive shooting for a long time. So, and I appreciate that. I appreciate just they're doing it right in that series. And I also loved what he said a couple weeks ago. He's like, I'll make as many John Wicks as the fans want me to. So,
and we want them all. That's one of the things, and you probably are the same way, probably even to a bigger scale than I am. But when I'm watching movies, I watch them for the entertainment value, especially like the DC and all that. I like watching the DC and Marvel stuff, but I don't read the comics. I'm just watching the individual movies. But when I'm watching like John Wicks and The Accountant with Ben Affleck and some of these, you can tell the people that are like legit gun people and the people that are learning a skill for a movie. Ben Affleck is very much a gun guy. You can tell by the way he handles it that he didn't just learn this for the movie. You can tell that Keanu didn't just learn this for a movie. They're legit gun people. And like I said, I wish there were more people that would do that, because that helps us as a community saying, these actors actually live our lifestyle. They understand what we're going through. We understand, what it is to be part of the gun culture. So it's awesome. Now I wanted to talk about transition real quick, and I'll bring Clover in here before we start talking about it. But the next thing I want to transition is training. It's not, you don't just do the Ryker grip. You actually train and do training classes. So before we jump in that, Clover, do you have anything you want to bring up before we move into training?
No, I'm good. Let's get it.
All right. So training, tell people what kind of training that you do, where they can find. I mean, I have the website out there, but where you do train. Do you have a central location, or do you travel?
So I've been running my own firearms instruction for 11 years, and I like to say I teach soccer moms and special operators and everyone in between. I do everything because I'm in North Carolina, I do everything from North Carolina concealed carry handgun permit courses to advanced pistol, rifle, shotgun, transition rifle, pistol. Other than my concealed carry permit class, everything has medical play in it. Tourniquet,
really?
shoot, move, and communicate, tourniquet application. And any of my courses, you're going to apply a tourniquet no less than 15 times. 5 will be by to yourself, and 10 will be on a fight dummy or a partner. And I would say 13 of those are all going to be under some type of physical stress, while you're still having to shoot, move, and communicate. So I generally run, my home base is Wilmington, North Carolina. I have a range 40 minutes south. So my range is actually, if you're geographical savvy, my range is in between Wilmington and Myrtle Beach. So if you ever want to schedule training, there's your 2 key places to get a hotel at. I schedule private training.
And with the chat with your links and all that too, so they have all of your links and all that as well.
So we don't have a training tab. We don't advertise any of this on the website. For a lot of our training, we focus a lot on law enforcement, getting these guys and everything for law enforcement, not just about the grip, anything we can do to help those guys get some extra training. We are very, in comparison to other, firearms instructors and stuff out there, not taking away from anybody. We are fairly priced, and we are very affordable for large groups. And that's just one of our things. We also, our classes too, we generally don't like to go, our max is between 12 and 14 students. Okay. It's more important for us to have a smaller class and put out better content and have one-on-one interaction with the students than just trying to pack a class full of people for the sake of packing a class full of people and making more money. That's not our concept at all. And again, honestly, the teaching and stuff, I enjoy it. It's fun, and it's kind of more of a hobby, but it is something that we offer and do. And we do travel to train. So all I need is
my next question is for the LEOs out there that can't get to you, or the guys that might want to get their own group to have one, do you have a minimum requirement to have you come to their facilities?
Depending, that really depends on distance, but I would say probably no less than 6. Okay. And again, that would probably, the cost would be a little bit more per student, but if they got more people or the department to pay for it, we can quote them out easy day on that one, all day. I just need a range. And depending on where we're at, I can give the list of things that we want to do. And again, everything I can tailor all the classes based off of the requirements for the department, for the individual, or whatever. I can come on down. Some of the things I've done in the past before, I've done the same class 3 days in a row for groups of 10 to 12, rotating them through on schedules. So I do that too. That's too easy. And again, I enjoy it. And then generally too, when I have that classes like that, it's not just me. I have one other instructor there, and generally one of my other instructors is normally law enforcement. So you get both sides of the coin. Right. So you look at, for me, my background, I've done 25 years. Most of that's been special operations. And since 2004, I've done all like that EP and whatever, PSD and all that, and the plain clothes and all that kind of stuff. Hiding in plain sight, stuff like that. So I bring that flair to it, doing it overseas. And then it's always good to have, I have a handful of guys that I trust who are in law enforcement. I like to have their savvy on too, because we mesh and we give these guys the best of both worlds and options and start teaching them how to think a little bit different. We set guys up too. We call it critical thinking, critical response. And a lot of our training exposes deficiencies in your training. It'll expose things that you think work. And we allow you to test in what you think is going to work. And when it doesn't work, you get instant feedback, very valuable kind of feedback, that's going to save your life. And then we run it again, and then you start making changes. So that's the whole intent on it, is just to, when you walk away at the end of the day, I want you physically destroyed, mentally saturated, and happy. And just like happy and just like, and like confident, and that you're better prepared for your craft or your day to day than you were that morning. So, but yeah, so I travel to train, just need a range, and then we can talk requirements, price, and all that stuff. But
sure.
Easy day.
So I put out the website, I put your Instagram, YouTube, Facebook out there. Do you have a preference if someone wants to get a hold of you? Do you prefer Instagram or Facebook more? I mean, which one are you on more?
I kind of run all the social media. So if it sucks, let me know. I'm trying. But no, I did DM me. It doesn't matter which one. My email is Ron, RON.Holmes, RON.HOLMES @RYKERUSA.com. Ron.Holmes @RykerUSA.com. Email me. Hit me up. And then if your DM is too long or too complicated, or your email, leave a phone number, and I will just, plain English, we'll just start talking. I'm good with that too. So, but yeah. And then one thing too is before I forget, for everybody that's watching this, if you guys haven't tried the Ryker grip, want to try it, use the code Ryker20 at checkout. Ryker, RYKER 20 at checkout. You get our best discounts, 20% off. And then we have a 120-day money-back guarantee. All right. So try it. Hey, it might look funny, it might not be for you, whatever. All you got to do is try it. Just try it. And but give it a fair shake. Don't just shoot it 3 times. Be like, no, like try it. Spend a day. Spend 8 hours on the range on it. Take it to, if you're going to take a class with somebody, try it. Put it on your shotgun. I got a real good shotgun video. I put shotgun course I run. You'll probably, my shotgun course, you'll run 4 stages of fire throughout the day, and each stage is 25 clays.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So you're shooting, moving, reloading, cover, different positions and everything. There's a good video on there, on the website about that. So, and again, I created that course for more so designed for home defense. Right, is people who like to use a shotgun as their primary, weapon of choice for home defense. Or have you practice it. So the way I run that course, it allows you to stretch your legs and understand the difficulty of on a shotgun, just sitting there, like when you're running and moving and changing positions and getting low and taking a knee and using cover and everything like that. So Yeah, it's I'm super creative, like I said earlier, and I like to have fun. My training is aggressive, but it is safe and it's fundamentally based. A lot of repetition of things over and over and over.
And
You
that's
know,
what
they always, it goes back to my first shooting package, and I've got a handful of dudes who just like live in the back of my head, and it's always like, what would they do? Oh, they would do this. Okay, but it's just, I remember that we would have days in our shooting package, and we would go out and we would do a pistol qual and a rifle qual and not fire one round on the clock. Right. Boom, all dry fire, change of mags, and we would spend the entire day 6 hours running through the house. Only thing that was live was breaches, and going through the house, dry fire, dry fire, dry fire, dry fire. And what they did by doing that to us, they slowed us down, and it sped us up. We came out the next day, and everybody's scores were just through the roof, and it boom, boom, boom. So you have to go both. So that's where we go back with one of the things I like to do is I do paper and steel. Paper's great. Paper teaches you accuracy. It gets you focusing on your fundamentals. Speed makes you aggressive. It makes you fast. It builds your confidence. But if you shoot steel too much, your accuracy starts to go. So you have to find a happy medium. Now, another option you can do, shoot smaller steel, then you'll be okay. But so I run both. I run steel and paper in the classes, shoot no-shoot targets and everything like that. Especially with a lot of stuff what we do when we start getting to shoot, move, and communicate. I do throw a lot of steel out there because I want the shooter, when he's like, his heart's jumping out of his chest and he's trying to pull somebody back and he has to stop and take a shot, I want him to get that instant feedback like, oh shit, I missed, or hell yeah, I hit it, bing, bing, moving on, moving to extract. So,
Clover, do you have anything you want to ask right now?
No, I'm still good.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting because we'll go into this. I've got a question out there, probably the last one we bring up, but yeah, talking about that when I work with different people, I'm not an instructor. I don't do all that, but I do help a lot of people at the range, and we do things. I'll have them do like 25 jumping jacks or do 10 push-ups, because the average person who sits at 20 feet hitting paper, they don't understand what happens when you have an accelerated heart rate. They don't understand what happens when you're out of breath. The stress levels just naturally happen, physiological. Yeah, that muscle's dancing all over it, and you've got to be able to do that. So I'm glad that you incorporate that in there. That being said, there is a young man, Jacob. He's been asking a lot of questions, but Jacob's been coming around the last couple of months, and he's 22, 23 years old, new to firearms. I don't even think he owns a firearm at this point, but he's interested in getting involved in the firearms community, and he wants to know what would be the best training that someone who has never handled a handgun take.
What state is he in? Can we get that, Jacob?
Maryland? Is that right, Clover? Maybe Maryland?
Oh man, he's in
I might be wrong about that.
That sounds right, but I'm not sure. I'm sure he'll chime in.
Indiana.
Indiana.
Okay. So there's
he's in a good state.
You're in a good state. Yeah. So I am an NRA member. I have listen to what I said. I have had to take some NRA classes.
Yes. Clover had his certification as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're good for a few things, but they're good for somebody who's seeking something because they're a constant, and really it just depends on the quality of instructor. But one of the things I would look for, Jacob, in looking for the right firearms instructor would be find somebody that doesn't pack their classes full. Find somebody that keeps their classes, less than 15 students. Find somebody with a really good background. I'm not saying that there aren't guys out there that aren't military and aren't law enforcement that can't teach really well, but there also are a lot of guys that are in the military and law enforcement that don't teach really well either. So you want to find the right guy. And fortunately, we live in a time where the little Google machine can provide almost anything we want. So you start looking at people's social media and look at their website and everything like that, read reviews and everything. And don't be afraid when you see somebody comment on their side, hit them up, shoot them a DM. Hey, you train with this guy. I'm getting ready to start out. What do you think? And I know I'm giving you like homework and stuff to do, but I'm really just trying to help get you right on the right path. But the big thing is, man, is fundamentals. It's fundamentals, and you can't rush it. You can't rush it. Understanding.
I always try to tell people as well, and this is something that maybe it's just a personal thing, but if I'm looking, I love to train. I'm a junkie to train, and I've taken, hundreds of just basic handgun 101 classes because you're always going to learn something. You're always going to do it better. But I'll tell you this: the one thing that I look for personally, Jacob, is who does that instructor train with? Are they arrogant enough that they don't go seek out instruction anymore? Or do they go and train with people, or have they been taking classes for other people? Because if they're still taking classes, it means to me they care enough to continue to learn the craft more. So if you ever hear someone says, I don't train with anybody else, I don't want to train with anybody else, I'd be skeptical. That's just my opinion. If someone who's continuing to train themselves, that's who I'm looking for.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that completely. Right now, I have a 3-year-old and running a business, and
but you have trained before. It's not like you've never been. You have done a lot of training before.
I love being a student. I love being a student. It's just the seed of knowledge right there. Hey, Jacob, are you close to Muncie, Indiana? If you're close to Muncie, Indiana, there is a facility up there called MTAC, MTAC. And my buddy owns that and runs it. So I would say go in there. They have a lot of indoor stuff. He does a lot of UTM, and it's a great place to start. Again, that's Muncie, Indiana, and that's MTAC.
Can he drop your name if he needs to?
Absolutely. From
Ron Holmes or whatever. Yeah.
Eric McBride. You're looking for Eric McBride. And I've actually been to the facility. It's really cool. I'm super jealous because he has like an adult playhouse, indoor playhouse, and but yeah, Utah instructors. Okay, so for Ashley Gun Streamer, any suggestions for Utah as far as instructors? So I have a buddy of mine, Guy Higgins, and I think is on Instagram. He's Higgins Tactical. He's a recon Marine. He's a sniper, and he's pretty new into instructing. And Utah, luckily, is buried in snow right now, so it's probably a little difficult to find an outdoor range. But check out Higgins Tactical. He's Guy Higgins. He's a big Muay Thai guy. Awesome dude, humble guy. And so that's where I would in Utah. I think he's in the Provo area.
Okay.
So
I think she's in the Salt Lake area.
Okay, yeah. So that's I think because we've been looking to move to like Wyoming, Indiana, someplace where we can go snowboard 200 days a year, and but still be in America. I think I don't think Provo's very far from that. But yeah, hit him up on Instagram. Tell him we sent you, and hopefully that works out for you. But yeah, training is important. And my buddy Scott Puckett, who's with he's the lead instructor out at the Sawmill LLC in Lawrence, South Carolina.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Scott's big thing. Scott's and I use this phrase all the time. Is the 3 F's: fitness, fighting, and firearms. You can't be good at one thing. You have to incorporate all of it. So if you can't get to a range, you can't shoot. Do some boxing. Do some kickboxing. Do some of that 9-round stuff. That 9-round stuff. Hey, you know what? Don't knock it till you try it. Like that stuff's pretty intense. That's 30 minutes. Like kick your ass. Right? Yeah. But the other thing that he says, and I love it, and I say it all the time, and you hit on, Trey, is be a seeker. Seek knowledge. Seek self. And what are we talking in the Marine Corps? Seek self-improvement. Constantly seek self-improvement. So yeah. No, Ashley, 25 minutes south. Awesome. Yeah, hit him up, man. Hit him up. He's a great guy. But, yeah, man, be a seeker. Be a seeker. Again, like I listen to audiobooks all the time. And I don't have anything against fiction, but right now and where I'm at, where I've been for a long time, I'm only going to read or listen to something that's going to add value to my life.
Sure.
I'm currently listening to
all the shit that people write about, so it's kind of hard to read.
Yeah. I'm currently listening to Echo and Ramadi, and I met Scott, the author, retired Marine. I met him at Chacho, and I'm only a quarter way through, and it's awesome.
What is it called?
Echo and Ramadi.
Really? I haven't heard of it. Okay.
Yeah, it's great. It's great, and it's total so many like I mean it you know, again, it's heartbreaking and all that, but there's so many like just you'll find comfort in it just because it's written by a Marine about Marines, and it's awesome. But yeah, you want to do things. You want things that do more than one thing. You want things that add value to your life, and then you want to add in the next comment is function over fashion. You know, it is how functional is it? You know, it doesn't matter what it looks like if it's a hindrance to
it's so funny that you look at people all the time that they try to act the part, dress the way they want to be operators. And so they go out and buy the boots, the cargo pants, the plate carriers, all this stuff. They don't realize that you're buying stuff that we used because we had to. It wasn't like we were trying to look a certain way, or, you know, back when I was in, we didn't have plate carriers. We had the old Kevlar fucking vest. Remember those pieces of shit? So, I mean, you know, those things were fucking heavy. But, I mean, you know, it's about function. If you really want to know what an operator does, look at the gear that they're using, not as a fashion statement, but saying these guys are the tip of the spear, and if they've got something on them, it's for a specific purpose. It's to stay alive, to go home and see their family. And if they're utilizing it, then it's not for fashion. They're not trying to look cool. It serves a fucking purpose. So it's interesting to me to see these tactical guys like, I want to get all this. Well, do you really understand why that's necessary? You know, they don't get that.
Dude, it's funny is that the tactical has become a genre of fashion.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm guilty. I got a $90 Ralph Lauren woodland camouflage polo button down in my closet, bro, and I wear the shit out of that shirt. I love that shirt, bro. Like,
I'll wear button downs, but I'll wear like cargo tack pants and my Danner boots, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just like, you know, you can wear, you don't have to look like an operator to still, you know, Clover, I don't know if Clover, he had to step away from the restroom or something, but, you know, Clover forever wore jeans. And up until about 6 months ago, he had never worn tack pants or cargo pants. Now you can't get them out of it. Are you back, Clove?
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Comfort, dude. Comfort, stretch, and flex.
Yeah.
I'm old, and I need all the help I can get to be able to move now.
I tell you, man, it's like I listen to Joe Rogan and a lot on his podcast, and not all of them because I like MMA, but I don't need to listen to all his MMA ones. But he has some really good guys out there, and I like his diversity that he has with his guests. But whatever he like endorses, I check it out and everything. I actually just ordered the RevTown jeans that he reps. They're 4-way stretch. He says you can work out in them, so they actually get here tomorrow. So I'll let you guys know how those work.
Yeah, let me know how those go.
Yeah, for me, I call it practical tactical. Again, that function over fashion. I want to be able to hide in plain sight. I want it to work. But you know, you had me thinking back like when because one of my big fortes that I had when I was on active duty is I love the cold. I'm like love cold weather, deep reconnaissance patrols, and all that. And one of the things that I learned in cold weather helped me my entire career. If I'm got all my gear laid out in front of me and I grab this piece of kit and I go and I look at it and I think about and I'm mentally going through every single day of the patrol, every single step I take. I'm like, can I say 100% I am actually at one point on that patrol, I'm going to pull this out and use this. And if I can't say 100% yes, it doesn't go. Right. And I applied that to everything. I applied that to Greenside. I applied that to CQB. I applied that to how I travel now. It's everything that I have has a function and has a purpose. Right. I don't have any excess stuff. I have this stuff that I need to, you know, I have 2 beefed up IFACs that stay in my day pack, non-tactical, North Face backpack, and but open it up. And if I was in an airport and there was a situation or something like that, I could at least take care of myself and a couple people and move them to safety and everything like that. So that's just my thought process on that. And I like to hiding in plain sight, practical, tactical, you know. And that's the other thing too is you know, getting a little conspiracy theory here, but you know, you can Google and read all the articles between, you know, Maryland, New Jersey, and New York, how they're targeting out-of-state vehicles that have that fit a stereotype. Monolade, 3% Nation, 3%er, come and take it, the Punisher skull, you know what I mean? All of that stuff. They're pulling people over and they're like, "Do you have guns?" And they're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Cool, you're going to jail."
Right.
And because they get you on transportation laws. So you gotta be smart. You gotta dig. And there's an app, CCW. Check it out. It's like $2. Get it. It'll keep you out of jail.
Absolutely. Clover, before we start sweeping the floor and all that, do you want
Jacob,
to? Here's one of the papers in your hand. There you go.
Dude, I just like to spin this thing. This is actually. This is just one of the Allen keys that we use for taking the screws in and out of the grip. So I'm sorry if I was distracting you, man. I'm just
no.
That's what we call a fiddlestick.
I literally have been sitting here the whole time doing this. I mean, I've got to be fiddling, so I'm sitting there the whole time. The audience is probably hearing clicking sounds, and it's just me. I've got to be fiddling with something at all times, Clover, do you want to tell people, first of all, thank you once again for coming on. This is a little different role for you, being kind of the producer behind the scenes, but thanks a lot for coming on. You want to tell people about where they can find your content and all that and what you got going on?
Oh, if they don't know by now, they're never going to probably, but clovertech.com, that'll get you everywhere I'm at, and drop the video on the Antares Range Day. So if you're curious about Antares Alliance and what all goes on their range day, that particular event has been getting just better and better every single year. So check that out, learn a little bit about Antares. And I want to thank Ron for jumping in. Great guy, great conversation, learned a lot about the product, and I like the way that you handled some of the questions and the problems that was out there that you addressed. Not many people would do that. A lot of people put it off on the person, and they don't explain that sometimes there's proper procedure and protocol, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's new, and I have to make, if you're asking me a question, I'm not going to do myself any favors by giving you a half-ass answer. So I at anything, I'd rather feel like I've given too much information sometimes. But I think it's important, and that's the other thing too, is when we get an email, we really pride ourselves, we get a question or an RFI, we really, really work hard to get an answer within less than 24 hours to somebody. So yeah, that's important, especially being a small business. But that, even if we were, we blow up and we're like a year's business, that's still going to be part of our culture. But yeah.
Now we did see you, I want to say Monday night. Clover and I did see you at Casey's place at Casey, who runs Antares. We saw you up at his party Monday. I think it was Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
Are you? Yeah. Is that Monday or Tuesday? They all went the same.
That was Monday. That was Monday night.
Monday. Okay. Is that something maybe with him trying to get the veterans thing going with the alliance? Is Antares one of those that you're thinking about maybe looking into?
Yeah, we are, and again, for us, we're small business, so. Yeah. Every dollar is important on how we spend it, and we got to make sure we're getting return. And we tried some things early on, and the return on investment did not pan out. Yeah. And when one of those things actually prevented us from going with the Antares right at the beginning. And we've looked at it, but right now where we're at with some of the other stuff going on, we might be able to jump on it later on. But yes, it is something that stays in there. I like that event. I think I've been to that event.
I love that more than range day. I like Antares a lot more. Now, there's something you might want to do is if Blackwater is going to continue to stay in with Antares, there you go. Get in with the Blackwater. Just saying.
Hey, that's already. We're already talking about it.
Nice. Well, first of all, thanks for coming on, Ron. It was great talking to you again, and I think the chat was awesome. I think people need to understand. And I love the part that you said that if you've ever had the inclination to develop something, to manufacture something, do it. But make sure you do it the right way, getting with the patent writer and all that. But 10 years ago, did you ever think that you'd be doing this? I mean, it's just one of those things where if you have an idea, guys, we talk about this all the time. People say there's no more innovation in the firearms industry. That is not true. There's plenty of innovation. The problem is few people are willing to take the risk. And there's something that Clover says a lot, and I agree 100%. in order for a product to get good, it has to exist first. So yes, the first models of whatever it is going to have issues, but as long as it exists, it can always evolve. So thank you for doing that. Go ahead.
There's another issue with that too, with innovation, right? And that's that most of the people out there looking for innovation, they're looking at it by these big multi-million-dollar companies. These companies, they've already carved their niche, they've already made their name, they've already made their money, and now they're just going to go with what works and what continues to make money, right? It's the small guys, it's people like Ron out there that are putting it all on the line and doing the innovation. And you've got to look for those people, unfortunately. And when you find them, like you've done here, of course, Ghost, you've got to promote those people and get them out in front of others.
Yeah. So, again, like I said, protect yourself, do it right. Make sure that your idea, your hard work and everything doesn't get stolen. There are unscrupulous people out there. And you have to have your guard up, and that's unfortunate. But that's the world we live in. Now I'll tell you this: is 25-year-old, Sergeant Holmes, Force Recon, 5th Force Recon. Me and two of my other brothers, we came up with an invention on our pistol belts. We didn't have things, so we were shotgun breachers. We carried the Remington 870 with the pistol grip. And MP5, pistol, fast roping, all this stuff. And you got, how do we do a shotgun coming from the tube where you're flagging everybody with a gun? You don't want to do that. So we bungeed it over us, and we came up with took a PVC pipe about 3-4 inches in height and cut the part out, put foam, glued foam in it, and then riggers taped and zip tied it to our side of our belt. And we would turn it, and the pump would sit right in there, right? So we did this, boom, boom, boom. I still have my very first pistol belt. And we work with some of the guys. I think Team 5 came over to Okinawa. We're with these guys for like 4 months. This is probably some of the best fields I've ever worked with back then. This is in the 90s. And these guys are like, dude, that's sick. We're like, yeah, we made these. We can make you some. And the guy's like, nah, he took some pictures of it. Fast forward 3 years later, I'm at 2nd Force now. We're going up the James River. And we're doing VBSS stuff, and we're working with the teams up here. And these guys are like fast roping down, and they're like, they got this little hook and Velcro thing and everything like this. And I talked to him after. I'm like, yo, where'd you get that? And he's like, oh man, our boys from the West Coast sent some pictures to the dudes at London Bridge, and they made it. And I was like, dude, but dude, I didn't know anything about patent, protecting yourself and everything.
Right.
I just thought I had a good idea. The three of us had a great idea. So it was actually a good friend of mine, Adam Slank, down in Austin, Texas. He's Fighter Design Clothing. He's the one who painted, gave us our roadmap on how to take something that's an idea and make it real. And what in his roadmap that he gave us, it was he took out all the wrong turns. It was a straight path. We followed it to a T, and we're here because of his guidance. So but again, just like I said, men, check your shit. If you have a lump, go to the doctor and protect yourself. Protect your intellectual property.
We brought in Patriot in the Dark. Haven't talked to you maybe off air, but Patriot, I know that you've also got something going on with the Disabilities podcast, that you're looking for someone that shoots with disabilities in New Orleans. Do you want to talk about that for a second?
I think my mute's mic'd.
Nope, you're good. I hear you.
Can you hear me? Oh, okay.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Well, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm looking for someone in the New Orleans area that's either disabled, or if you know somebody that's disabled in the area, just to get a hold of me. I have a project going, and hopefully we can get something soon. But
right.
Yeah. So just
if you just in the dark at gmail.com, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. So guys, we're gonna jump off here. We're gonna have a discussion off air. But thanks for everyone for watching live. If you're watching a replay or listening in podcast, utilize the comment section. There was a lot of information that was passed out. If you have any questions for myself, for Clover, for Ron, anybody, email them or use the comment section down below, and I'll make sure that Ron gets those questions and all of that. But Thanks, guys, for watching. Go check out RykerUSA.com. Check them out on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I put all the links out there. They'll be in the description below when this is over with. Go check out Ron's got some cool stuff. We'll see you soon, and peace in the Middle East. Semper
Thanks
Fi.
for having me.